Well, welcome to Community Focus. I'm your host, Jaden Jefferson. I'm right now joined by Blair Johnson. He is a candidate for an at-large seat on Toledo City Council. Let's just kind of first start with you. Kind of introduce yourself to the audience and why you're running for City Council.
Currently, I'm a local contractor. I do property maintenance and renovations in the city of Toledo. I've had my business for 11 years. Been doing it full-time for 5 years. Prior to that, I was was a federal employee. I worked for the Postal Service for about 7.5 years. I was in the healthcare and in the hospitality for a parking service company. Prior to that, I was a school custodian. I was a library employee. So I've had a lot of service work. And the reason I'm looking to get into becoming a public servant is just because I feel like people need a little help. People need to be heard, and people want to be heard. And I think we got a lot of great things happening in the city, but I think we can have more things happen.
And you mentioned one of your reasons is because you feel like people aren't being heard. What are some of the big issues for you?
You know, it goes as simple. Of course, crime is big. People want to feel safe, but people also, want to be able to go on their porch and be proud of what they see in their neighborhood. We've got, the crime, we've got broken lights, we've got blighted houses. People want to have pride in their environment. And people also, the simple things, like recently, one of the biggest things is trash. We've had trash on curbs for a month now. And that's a factor, because then it turns into another issue because we got, rats and other animals that come, becomes a public safety issue. People just want the basic services that they pay for as taxpaying citizens.
What would you say is the value in having that experience as an outsider?
Well, perspective is everything. When we have conversations, when we talk about things, everybody has a different perspective. So when we collectively put these perspectives together, we see a bigger picture. And I think that's one of the biggest things I bring to the table. I'm going to look at it in more of a maintenance approach. As a contractor, I'm looking at things of what can we do best? Is this process working better? This isn't working too good. Let's see if we can change it a little bit. I'm going to be more hands-on. I mean, I get my hands dirty, so I'm looking to work and looking to be able to find out how I can help better.
What are going to be some of the different things that you prioritize when it comes to the primary responsibility of City Council, which is budgeting?
Well, one of the biggest things, just like at home with the family, we need to go through and look at everything line by line. There's a lot of things that we won't be able to cut out the budget, but there's some things that, do we really need to still have this bill? Is this an expense that we need? We need to take a deep dive to make sure we're spending our money where it needs to be properly, because we have a lot of things in this city we got to pay for. And we got to literally, just like at home, we got to pinch every dime and pinch every penny to make sure it counts to go the long way. So doing a deep dive in our budgets is a big deal to me, to make sure we are properly spending our money, and also making sure we're using the right vendors and contracts to make sure, can we save money but not decreasing quality of the services we provide for our citizens.
One of the issues you touched on was obviously blight, and that is something that we've seen happen in recent years because it's just kind of this mix of people leaving their homes and no one buying those properties. It's also the fact that maybe the city doesn't have the adequate staff. For you, what would be the solution to address blight in the city that maybe isn't going addressed right now?
Well, one of the biggest things is using the systems we have in place to make sure we're properly tracking things. A lot of things get reported and they kind of sit in limbo. So we need to make sure we are adequately, doing these things in a timely manner. One of the things is we have a lot of people who do put things on the curb and they don't call the city. But we also have a lot of people who, like myself as a contractor working with clients, who put things out and, they're not picked up in a timely manner. Sometimes people rummage through, making the mess bigger than what it is. We got to figure out how to make our system better so it works, so we can, we're not going to be able to catch every issue, but we should be able to catch a lot of them. So being able to make sure this process works and works better.
Looking at existing infrastructure, the city of Toledo has Engage Toledo, which is that line for people to call. Is it that there's just not enough awareness of Engage Toledo, or that the city isn't responding to those requests in a timely manner, or for you, is it both?
A lot of people, I still come across a lot of people who don't know 419-936-2020 or don't know we have an app to where we can submit things. And I also do believe that we probably need, more laborers. We need more staffing to be able to properly push things through, because we are short staffed. I mean, every industry, and it's not just the city, every industry is having job shortages. In a post-COVID world, we're short people. So we need to figure out a way to get more people to help, because if we got 5 guys doing the job of 10 people, we'll never catch up. So we got to figure out how to make the systems work. So I think our city employees do a great job and they bust their butts every day. But I think we do need to still get them some more help and more support to make sure their job is easier and things can flow better.
And I do want to follow up, obviously, on the issue of public safety, because I think that one is one we hear commonly. During the pandemic in 2020, cities across the country, they saw an increase in crime. They've seen this decline, Toledo included. So is it just the fact that the city hasn't messaged that crime is down, or is it that there are just some other things missing from this picture? Because the data shows crime's down, but people anecdotally don't feel that way.
Well, you got to understand, a lot of the data is reflected about reported crime. So there's crime we're facing that's not into the system, that's not processed. We have incidents that happen, and unless it's a major thing like gun violence that automatically triggers a lot of alerts, we have a lot of things that aren't being reported. We have a lot of people fearful to call in, not because they're scared of our police department, but they're scared of maybe whatever the situation, maybe whoever the person who is putting these crimes at. So we got it to where we have what's reported and what's not reported.
A disconnect.
Yeah, there's a big disconnect. And so we'll never have 100% reported crime. It just won't happen. But we have to find different ways to try to mitigate. Like one of the things is workforce development. Workforce development, a lot of people may disagree, but when we put people to work, that helps decrease crime. When we give people a reason, because a lot of people are in survival mode, when we give people a reason to be able to go to work, to be able to be successful, be able to feed their family, crime will go down. It's happened plenty of times, and that's one of the things I think we need to work on as a whole, is attracting new businesses that will give people employment and gainful employment, that way they can have a good quality of life.
So in terms of economic development, what is City Council not doing now that you would like to see City Council do, and what you would like to do if elected?
Well, if elected, I wouldn't say so much what they aren't doing, but I definitely want to find ways to where we help our local brands be able to grow, make sure their foundations are more solid. So not only can they be stable, community, stabilization is huge. When we stabilize the people in our community thrives. When we give businesses an opportunity to grow and help them have that, the first 3 years is critical. Not too many businesses make it past that. And then once they get past that, sometimes we're going to have our ups and downs. Sometimes, hopefully we won't have another COVID no time soon. But that was a big thing that crushed a lot of businesses. And what small businesses, local businesses do, they do a lot of second chance employment, which also ties back into that thing with crime. We give people a second chance who deserve a second chance. And then in turn, that puts people in a better place. And in turn, that brings tax revenue into the city. So it all goes hand in hand. One of my biggest things is making sure we're doing a good job. We're doing pretty good. But let's figure out how to do a great job to where we can just make sure these businesses stay around.
A smaller tax base means less money to work with to fund the services that citizens would like to see. It's a spiral that continues. Yeah. And so in terms of attracting those businesses to the area, what do you make of the programs that already exist? And do you have any ideas of programs that can be instituted?
Well, we have, like for like a lot of our small businesses that are in storefronts, we have our white box grants and our facade grants, which are big,
right? Because
those are big costs that help, people who are in the storefront positions. Also, we have different programs to help people get started. We have a lot of nonprofits in the area that truly help and bless people by giving them that basic knowledge, because a lot of people, knowledge is power, literally, and it helps people increase. I would love to see a way that the city can just be more of a stabilizer. Sometimes we need to hold people's hands. We need to, guide them as they go, so that way now they can fly on their own. We're doing a good job, but I think we can do better. I think we can push it to the limit. I think we want to, we have so many intelligent people in our community, figuring out ways to get us to collaborate better because we are stronger together. There's a lot of different things that I feel like can be done, but communication is where it starts. And also giving people a platform to where they feel comfortable enough to say, hey, I need help, and not to feel like a failure for asking for help.
And you mentioned education, which is also an important part of this conversation, because we have a couple big state universities in this area. We also have our school districts locally. And really, you see that one of the issues Toledo has is just the availability of jobs. Mm-hmm. So cities like Cleveland and Columbus and Cincinnati are able to attract those people who've gotten their degrees and they've left and went to other jobs. What are some of the different struggles in terms of building jobs here in Toledo that don't already exist?
Well, I think as we spoke about briefly, we're kind of shifting from manufacturing has really phased out to what it was 10, 20, 30, and even 50 years ago. It's not the same in Toledo, but we are still a hub spot. We're one of the biggest hubs in the Midwest. So figuring out a way to where we can start to welcome tech and also start to teach people, in junior high and under, partnering with TPS and our other private schools to make sure they have the training to be able to tap into the next generation. And also Columbus, Cleveland, Detroit, let's have a conversation with them. Let's see what they're doing. Why not? They're all within 2 hours, 2 hours range of us. Let's talk to them. They've been having so many wins and so many successes. Let's call them, say, hey, can you show me what you guys did? Can you show me their plan? I don't know if that's being done, so I don't want to, be disrespectful with somebody, but I don't know why we're not doing it if we aren't. Those talking to your neighbor, just like next door, talking to your neighbor is so important. Let's do it with the neighboring cities that are having success. Detroit's had an incredible turnaround
For sure.
in the last 10 to 15 years. Cleveland has been growing. Columbus is huge. It's literally the biggest city in our state. And also Dayton and Cincinnati, they've also had successes. Let's have these conversations and open up the windows, because why not? If we got a study guy right there, let's use it.
From the sounds of it, you would like to see more of this partnership with TPS, which we've seen has kind of grown these magnet schools.
Absolutely, because TPS, like I've told Dr. Durant plenty of times, I said, I graduated in 2008. So I'm like, you couldn't have, came in there a little bit earlier, what I'm saying? Because the opportunities are amazing for a public school system. They got crocodiles, it's like, this is amazing. There are so many different opportunities for the children to grow and then to take this knowledge and leave debt-free upon graduation to be able to be successful. Building on programs like that, and that's a partnership that we should build stronger.
And what are some of the other issues that you would like to tackle if given the opportunity?
One of the biggest things is our Toledo Police Department. They're doing a good job. They need one, they're recruiting. They need more people. We need to get them more staffing, because I know from the conversation I had, they want to do more community policing. I would love to see how we can build a better bridge to where we have a conversation between our local safety force and our community, so we can figure out how to work things, how to build a better relationship. We both need each other. So building a better relationship is one of the biggest things I would like to see in the city.
And based on the conversations you've had with TPD, would you say that there's been enough healing in the community from 2020, which was obviously a difficult year in terms of community relations?
I believe it has improved, but with a lot of the other things in the city, we still got work to do. But we're going in the right direction. Baby steps still get us miles. So, progress is better than no progress, and I do see progress.
Blair Johnson, Toledo City Council candidate, I appreciate you joining me.
Thank you. Appreciate talking.
Thank you, and that is Community Focus.